What would I want to know from somebody who's just starting their career? Wow. I'd want to know what they were passionate about, what makes them get up out of the bed every day, how they want to make the world a better place.
I think I've always believed in compassion, and I always wanted to be involved in being a part of a community, helping people, and that is why I became an engineer.
Engineers, I think, are particularly innate problem solvers and seek out challenges. So I would be asking questions around the why, the who they are, and the how they think about the world around them. What I'm really hoping to hear from them is that they see that there are challenges in the world that really light them up and that they would like to take on personally to make the world a better place.
I definitely want to see more equality. So more opportunities and equal opportunities for people of different genders and different colors and different cultural backgrounds. Another aspect that I think is really important for the future is environmental aspects. And so using our engineering knowledge to create a better world and a more sustainable world for ourselves as well as future generations.
I think lots of people don't know what engineers do unless they're exposed to somebody they know or family member or something like that. I think engineers are generally pretty humble people, don't talk a lot about ourselves, stereotypically, of course. And I think that's why I think we kind of hide in the background and just do our thing and make the world safe and cool and wild and awesome, but just in the background and quietly. And I think it's a detriment to our industry, actually. I think people should be more vocal about what engineers do. It devalues our industry when we're not out there promoting ourselves and making people understand what a great thing we do for the world.
Well, if we could wrap back, to when I was a kid, that's, the dinosaurs roamed the earth and all of that stuff. It was not cool to be interested in science. So I think some of that humility comes from, you don't want people to know just how smart you are and that you're interested in this geek stuff, because that would not play well on the playground. Perhaps that still pervades today, but I think more important today is that you're so focused on solving the challenge that you don't worry about telling people about how great, an engineer is or how great you are. You just want to solve that problem and frankly be left alone with your group to solve that problem.
I remember back in 8th grade, there was a school project where they wanted us to choose any science topic. Me and my friend chose environmental engineering, and we didn't know the word engineering back then. We just used environmental pollution, and we wanted to talk about different pollutions that were happening around the world. When I was presenting my prototype to the judges, they were really interested to know more about it, and they asked me the right questions. They were like, how do you think you would propose a solution? What do you think you would do? So basically, I came up with very basic solutions like how can we stop polluting the air, how can we stop polluting the water. And the more that I gave thought about it is when I understood engineering would be the right step to take to provide more sustainable and strong solution that would make sense on a longer run. So we know 40-50 years back we were heavily dependent on the coal, and right now we don't use coal anymore. So basically all the non-renewable sources are gonna stop lasting, and we need some kind of sustainable solutions. And that's when I truly understood, after taking chemical engineering in my bachelor's, I understood why is it important and how as a chemical engineer I could help the environment be a better place to live in.
Something that engineers do face is that we tend not to talk about the value of engineering to society. So as a result, society has no idea what we do. We're the magicians behind the curtain. So that breeds fear because they don't really know what we're up to. In some cases, it breeds contempt because when the bridge falls down, it was the darn engineers messed that up. So unlike doctors who, we all have the personal experience where the doctors helped us. They're very important because they keep us healthy. The lawyers keep us out of jail. But what is it that engineers do? Most people don't know, yet we are the creators of the infrastructure on which society is built. So without all of those legions of engineers that go back 2,000 years, we wouldn't be where we are today. for all the good. I mean, we'd like to point out all the problems that we have, but the quality of life that we enjoy right now is better than it's ever been in history. Ever. And it's all based on the technologies that we've created, and engineering has played a major, that may be the major role in creating the quality of life we have, but we don't talk about that.
One of the things that I'm really excited about doing right now in my career is a program called GreenSTEM. And so GreenSTEM is a pilot initiative by the Ministry of Jobs, Economy and Innovation. And essentially what it's helping to do is to help recent graduates from STEM degrees, so science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, help them to take a technology from an idea into a new venture and to start and grow a new venture. And so GreenSTEM provides them with funding, as well as what's really exciting is also the entrepreneurial skill building and networking. And so by combining the different aspects that you need to grow a business, we're helping get technologies out from the university and into the market. I definitely think it adds to my impact. What I found is working in a small company in R&D, I was able to really focus in on the details and look at the technical aspects as well as the business aspects for that one company. But what I found is that a lot of companies and a lot of startups face similar issues. And so what GreenSTEM does, and what programs like accelerators and incubators do, is they help give that ledge up and to help companies really overcome the barriers to help them grow and become successful companies.
We always tell people they can change the world. And in engineering, you can. Actually, it's really interesting. It's a huge industry, and there's so many different facets, and there are ways to change the world. And it's possible to find your little niche in that, where what you do every day actually makes people's lives better.
I originally came to University of Alberta to do my master's by research. After my bachelor's, I understood I don't want to do another master's which is just course-based. I wanted to get into research. I wanted some hands-on experience. And originally my project was based on modeling, data modeling, and optimization of processes. And after coming here, I had an opportunity to work on biorefineries, which is nothing but basically biofuel production. And that really sparked my interest again, which is again a sustainable option. And also it was giving me another opportunity to get into the coding world, where I do a lot of modeling and data optimization and stuff like that, which I was never exposed to before. It's really amazing how I tried to simulate a bioenvironment using just mathematics. It's really cool, I guess. And it's really cool when I think about it. And without even actually getting my hands on into experiments, I try to simulate and model stuff, which would save a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of energy for a lot of people who are working around me. If in case I'm trying to figure out a most optimal solution to produce biofuel from algae, that's what I work with. It's going to take for a normal grad student at least 5 to 6 years to come up with a proper experimental design. But through modeling, I could save them a lot of time. Like I could do a certain step of simulations and modeling and tell them, you don't have to try 30 different sets. Maybe you could just try 10.
I honestly think it's absolutely possible that every single person can make a difference. And every single person makes a difference not only in their immediate surroundings, but the impacts that percolates around them. And so you can choose to do that in multiple different ways. And there's no right or wrong. You have to find what's right for you. And so sometimes finding that niche and really focusing on the detail, that works for you. And that's amazing. And that's great. But sometimes going on a different scale and maybe a bit higher level, but influencing more people in a different way is also pretty amazing, because you can see that influence then percolate to the next level.
So the honest truth was I had no idea. The quip is I thought they drove trains. And that this goes back to 1977. So yes, that's a long time ago. How I became an engineer was I came out of a farming community, and although I loved living on the farm, working on the farm, I didn't look like the future for me. I loved math and physics, and then chemistry after that, and then biology after that. I couldn't see how I would fulfill those interests long-term, doing what most of the kids that I went to high school with did. The dirty part of my secret is that I skipped school one day. This was grade 13. Ontario had up to grade 13 at the time. And the day that the program selection forms were due, I had skipped the day before. And I got a phone call from a guidance counselor, the only thing that a guidance counselor ever did for me, to say, Fraser, they're due today, and I don't have yours. I thought, oh, what am I supposed to do? So I quickly ran down to the guidance center and I flipped open the University of Waterloo's calendar. That was the school that was closest to us, to where I lived. And it fell open at chemical engineering. And it literally said, if you love math, physics, and chemistry, chemical engineering is for you. So I read a little more and thought, that sounds cool. When I graduated in 1982, it was a deep, dark economic time, and very few of my class, less than a third, got jobs. So I was lucky enough to have grades that would get me into grad school, and I thought, well, I'll just hide out for a couple of years and things will get better. So I did that. In the course of doing my master's degree, I developed a product that's still in the market today. It's called Dryer Master. And in the process of doing that, I learned a lot about product development. And I thought, well, that's what I want to do. So then I went off and I started my own consulting company. And I did that for quite a long time. I worked in a variety of different industries. But what I found was I'd gotten fairly good at what I did, but it started to feel repetitive. And I wanted to challenge. One of the things that I noticed was I really enjoyed mentoring people, younger people. And I know I was only 25, 30 at the time, but you know, the new people that would start, they'd often give them to me and I got to help them get started. So I started thinking seriously about, okay, I could go back and do a PhD. And then in 1989, I went back, and there were three old people that went back to McMaster University at the same time. We're all roughly the same age. So I think we all had the same kind of experience. Worked in industry, it was fun, we learned a lot, but it started to feel like there wasn't a long-term future for what we wanted to accomplish. So I went back to school, spent my time in PhD studies, and after that I knew I wanted to be a prof. Once again, I graduated into a great time. There were very few chemical engineering professors' jobs. Interviewed in a few places, started in Toronto. When the opportunity came open in 1996 to come here, I jumped at the chance because in the Chem Eng department, we had one of the strongest process control groups in the world, and that's what I did. So that's where you want to go. And I just stumbled my way into the dean's job.
My career started off in what you might call a very traditional kind of path. I started as a technical design engineer, and then I did that for a while, and I started managing projects, and then I started managing some people, and I was on this path to partnership or, vice president or whatever, wherever I want to be, on that kind of like very traditional kind of career path. And I was on that for a long time, like 12, 15 years of that was kind of the goal. And I kind of, as you approach every step in your career, you start imagining yourself in that position. So I started imagining myself as a partner of the firm I'm in. And I kind of looked at that and said, you know what, that's not right for me. And that's right for lots of people. And I love people that are willing to do that. And I no knocks against people who want to be partners. Great. It turned out that for me to have the best value to my community, I decided that wasn't the right place. And it was really once I started imagining what that role looked like, imagining myself in that role, what I would do every day. But I went, wait a minute, for me, I can make a bigger impact in the world in this other way. And for me now, I'm much more focused on projects, and I'm much more focused on people. And those to me are the things that I love to focus on. I love the impact our projects have on the people around us in our communities. So I design buildings for a living. So buildings are an important part of our communities. So I love that piece. And then I love training. I love coaching. I love mentoring. I love spending time with young engineers and helping them through their careers. And for me, those pieces became fundamental of my purpose and where I think I make the biggest impact. Often we get paralyzed through analysis, or paralysis by analysis, I think is the colloquial term. So we try to plan what
the next year is going to be like, and then, after I do this, and this step, then I will get that step, and 5 years from now I'll be here, and 10 years from now, and then in the year 2055, I will be the president of the company. Life doesn't work that way.
So I would say the toughest thing I've ever had to deal with in my experience has been more on the health side. And so back in 2013, I decided to learn rock climbing. And so I'd been bouldering for a while, and I wanted to take it to the next level. And I didn't want to hurt myself. So I signed up for lessons, and unbeknownst to myself, I have a slight curvature in my back that I wasn't aware of. And so when I was actually taking lessons and they were doing a lesson on how to fall safely from different angles and different directions, I actually ended up fracturing my back. And this impacted my life in so many ways. It just taught me that importance of health and how your personal health impacts everything that you do in life. And it was an incredibly difficult, but also a learning opportunity for me. It helped me learn a lot more about myself, as well as grow as a person. And one of the things that was key to that learning process was that look at resiliency and understanding how you can overcome challenges. And so sometimes going through physio and going through the process of just learning how to move again and to be able to walk and be able to do normal things was so hard. And so it's very easy to focus on the negative and to go down this negative spiral when you have a big challenge like that. And one of the things I know I did when I was starting to feel really negative is I started to look for support, and friends were amazing. My friends and my family, they were all there to be supportive, and that is a big part of resiliency, is having that network of support around you. But one aspect of it is they don't really understand. They haven't been through that. So I was looking for people who'd been through it. And I actually found a Facebook group of people who had the same condition as me. And I was reading through these posts, and it's historically, you can go through all the posts and see what people are doing. And one thing I noticed is that there were two really distinct camps of people. The people who just focus on the negative. And I saw that with time, they just getting worse and worse, and they were losing contacts with their friends and family because all they did was focus on how much pain they were in. Then there are other people who focused on the positives, on those little things that they could do, on the improvement that they made, on seeing their friends and family who can come to visit and things. And so what I really notice is it's kind of a choice. It's really a mindset to choose to be positive and to focus on the positive and to allow that to grow.
Risk-taking is important for a very simple reason. We can't change the world unless we take risks. And what engineers do, and we're not the only ones, but our whole existence, the whole history of engineering has been about making our community, society better. You've got to take risks to do that. You've got to fall on your face, make mistakes, and learn from them. Otherwise, you can't be a good engineer.
The other aspect was it really helped me delegate. So part of that learning how to delegate was also learning the skill sets and understanding that everyone has different strengths. And so how can you draw upon those, and how can you enable people to build on their strengths, but also help them support them on their weaknesses. So help them develop those skills that they might not be that good at, but that they could get good at.
I was putting in foundations for a new school portable, and did all my drawings and went out to site, and they put all the piles in, and then they brought the portable to put it on the piles, and nothing fit, like nothing. Piles were all in the wrong place. And that happens. You don't like it to happen. But I remember just feeling so anxious and upset and scared, even to tell my boss that this had happened. But went into his office, said, "Jim, here's what happened. I'm not sure how we got here, but all these piles are in the wrong place. The portable doesn't fit. What are we going to do?" And we talked, and he was very compassionate and quiet, and we talked about some ideas, and nothing really was going to make a lot of sense. And he just kind of looked at me and he said, "Well, Cam, I guess I just bought some piles, and we'll have to buy some new ones." And he wasn't dismissive. He wasn't hard on me. It was just, mistakes happen. Let's move on. And that helped me a lot in my career to understand that it's, we make mistakes, it's okay. Sometimes they cost money, and that's unfortunate. But it's okay to make mistakes, and I try to instill that in people I work with now that, try it. If it works, great. If we make a mistake, we'll move on and figure it out. I always find the best way to mitigate risk is to talk to smart people about things. There's no risk in a thought experiment, so thinking hard about things beforehand is a really great way to mitigate risks in the real world. Surrounding yourself with smart people that you trust, that you can bounce ideas off of, that if you say something crazy, they don't look at you like you're from Mars and they say, well, Cam, maybe that's not such a terrible idea, or gee, Cam, that's an awful idea. Let's try something else. But surrounding yourself with people that you can trust and that will help you get through those thought experiments, I think that's how you mitigate risk the best way, is surrounding yourself with great people.
Everything is my proudest moment because I lived with my parents for 21 years and I've never traveled alone, and I took the flight all by myself, and it might be a silly thing for the people, but it was the biggest achievement for me because I've never done it. My parents literally, they were very overprotective. I was never allowed to go out of the house. I was never allowed to take a bus alone. So moving here, living all by myself, finding roommates, like taking courses, doing my exams, everything was a big deal for me. And the first semester, I thought I would be homesick, but I guess the work kept me going. It kept me busy. I didn't even have the time to be homesick, to be honest. The most challenging day I've ever had was I had my final exam at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I had to leave my house, come to the exam. It was 7ish, and I was sitting on my bed, and then I was thinking to myself, do I really have to do this? It was minus 40 outside, and when I came outside, stepped onto the bus, people were all normal. Like they were acting as if nothing is wrong, everything is fine. It was my first minus 40 and I was freaking out. But after seeing everyone around me, I kind of figured out, okay, that's how it's going to be from now on. No matter what, you have to keep going. Nothing is going to stop you. And I was really amazed by the people that I saw in the bus. They were small kids, they were elderly people. Everyone was dressed to go to work or wherever they were going. They were all chill. They were cool about what they were doing. And I was the only one stressed and depressed sitting there. Oh, what am I doing right now? But I guess after that day, the other minus 40 days were just better.
Too often we think of the success as what comes after the product is finished, and there are many successes along the way. One of the things that I've been fortunate in my time as dean is I've had an extraordinary team of people that I've worked with. So every day it's successful because I get to come and work with some really, really smart, motivated people. That feels like success to me. I think if you can enjoy the little successes along the way, then days can get awfully hard. And the big successes come from the accumulation of all those little successes. Probably when you're 60 and you look back and you say, wow, that was really cool.
When I was in undergraduate, I was in doing the co-op program, and one of the assignments you have to do is interview different engineers of different places in their career. And I remember this as one of those moments in my life that was just a moment of clarity, and they happen every once in a while in your life if you're watching for them. And one of the questions you had to ask was, what are the elements in your life that are critical to success? And I remember talking to my boss at the time, and he was maybe 40-ish and I was 20, and I said, so Casey, what makes people successful? And he looked at me straight in the eye and he says, Cam, it depends on your definition of success. And for me, that was a light bulb, mind-blowing moment. When you're young, I think we have this definition of success that is fast cars and fast women and bags of cash and glamour and fame and all those things. And I think he said to me, for me, Cam, success is going home every day and having dinner with my family. That's a successful day. And that was a really neat moment in my life because it allowed me to redefine success for me, or give me the permission to define what my success is, and that's not your success or anyone else's success. And that's a really neat piece of learning for me that I like to pass on, because I don't think we talk about that enough, that it's your success that matters, not my definition of success or Hollywood's definition of success or your boss's or your mom or dad or whoever. It's all about what makes you successful. You get to define that for yourself.
It's absolutely normal to start off thinking, I want a high-paying job. it's got to be some fun, but I want a high-paying job because, I know I'm going to buy a house. I need a car. I'm probably going to get married. We're probably going to have kids, and I've got to get all that sorted out. And unfortunately, money's going to drive that. But a day comes, and it comes faster than any of us expect, where if you're given a choice to have another dollar, a raise of $1, or have more time to do the things that you really, truly enjoy, i.e. fulfill you, you start to choose those other things. And you see it in engineers that stick with the company for 40 years. Sometime in their career, they start looking for things that they can do outside of the company. They start volunteering, and probably most of the people you've talked to volunteer. Well, they're trying to find ways to fulfill their lives.
My measure of success is about helping people. It really is. It's how what I do every day makes other people's lives better. And whether that's through mentoring and coaching, which is something I love to do, helping people through their careers, whether it's the projects I work on and how they impact day-to-day lives, like people at school. I love designing schools. I designed a couple of the buildings around here. And I love that students get to go there and learn in places that I worked on. So for me, success is about making sure that the people around me are successful. That's my number one.
Honestly, the biggest fulfillment for me that I get out of mentoring is seeing the impact on people. And so, I've seen some young students who come and start in some of our programs, and, some of them within a couple of months, they become more outgoing, more relaxed, more confident in themselves. And to see that change in a person, and when you extend that over time, and to see that impact on not only them but their lives overall is really, really amazing. Often you get more than you give in some ways, because you could just seeing people grow and to be able to help them grow and to be able to share your knowledge is really amazing as a feeling personally. I think fulfillment is very important. So having an understanding of your values and your passions and what makes you happy is important no matter what you're doing in life. And fulfillment can come in so many different forms. So in engineering and science, especially in R&D, there's so much struggle to sometimes find the solution to a problem. And then sometimes when you get those eureka moments, that's incredible. When something works that you've been trying to make work for so long and it suddenly does, it's an incredible feeling. And then using that to do something good, to make lives better and to create a product that will be influential to people. For me, it's seeing that use of my work. And so on the technical side, but also on the volunteering side, and to see people impacted and to see companies grow and to see that building of community.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a shift in the industry from strictly profit basis to a purpose basis. And I think it's being driven by what I think as younger people. I don't like to think of myself as old, but that people are thinking about how they're going to make their mark in the world first and then profit afterwards, where businesses are changing that from how do I make money to how do I make a difference. And I think the industry is changing slowly. When I started off, I think purpose was there, but in the background, and it's becoming much more about foreground. Smart companies are starting to realize that purpose is actually what drives us. Purpose is what builds culture and team and really drives people to excel. And I think younger people, as they're graduating now, are more driven by purpose than society has ever been in the past. I think and that's a great thing, because purpose is actually the important thing. If we don't make great buildings, but we make $1, are we really making the world a better place? And the idea is to make the world a better place.
Purpose is important as an individual because it helps you give you guidance, and it helps you by knowing your values and your vision, it helps you decide what you want to do and how you want to use your time to give the most impact. Wow,
what was it like becoming a dad? It's like super scary and exciting, and it's a really neat, it's a unique experience, and I would say it's better than anyone can possibly describe, and it's harder than anyone can possibly describe all at the same time. So having a child did change my perspective on what's important in the world. I went from that moment, or that headspace where you're just doing math to where you're doing math for a reason. I have this photo of my son with a hard hat on and a safety vest, and he was maybe 10 years old. And we went out to one of my work sites, and they were pouring concrete for a big raft pour. And I took him out. It was a Saturday, and we had a really great time. I took him out on site and just got an opportunity to show him what I do every day and what the kind of stuff that I do really means in the real world and the size of things. And he loved it. He was young and loved all the big trucks and the cranes and all that kind of stuff. But it was a really neat moment of passing on what I do, really helping him understand what I do every day and what engineers do every day. I try and instill in him every day that what I do makes the world better, and try to help him understand that he needs to find his place in the world where he makes the world better. And if that's engineering, great. And if it isn't, fine. But I want him to understand that putting effort in every day and putting your passion and your energy into something to make the world better is important. I want him to have that value. I want him to value success of himself and his colleagues and the people around him. And I want him to feel like I'm doing that every day. I sure hope so.
For me, I always looked at everything I did is when I'm 60 years old, and I'm just past that now. When I look back, it seemed like a long way away earlier on in my life, but it's funny how fast you get there. But I always thought from the point of view, when I'm 60 and I'm looking back, will I regret doing or not doing something? So from the point of view of should I trudge through, if I could see a path that would get me to something I would be proud of and would fulfill me, I would stick it out. But when I couldn't see that path, then it was time to make the switch.
I think success means when you achieve what you want to do in life. It could be as small as it is, and not just one thing is going to define success, not just work is going to define success, not a 6-digit salary is going to define success. There are a lot of different things, and I believe in that. And I have a huge list of things that I want to achieve in life, and I hope I get to do that. If you feel like you have failed at something, just don't lose hope. It's really important to try again. Nobody's perfect. You're not going to get it right the first time you do it. Keep doing it. You're just getting better and better at what you're doing. And I've learned that through my own experience. When I came here, I didn't have a lot of exposure, but after coming here, I exposed myself to a lot of new things. I tried a lot of new things. I failed at a lot of things, but it didn't stop me, and I just keep going. And I think that's really important.
So again, I start with, what's your heart say? What is it you want to do? Find that thing. Maybe you do it for a little less money than you would that other thing, but it gets back to fulfillment. And then life will work out the way it should. But you do want to keep your eye on where you want to get to. But it's more of a long-range target. It's not a fixed plan on a schedule.
I'm passionate about being involved in a more social cause. And a couple of years back, I participated in an engineering case competition where I had an opportunity to provide a most feasible economic solution for providing clean drinking water to the First Nations people in Garden Hill in Manitoba. And I was really surprised because being from India, it's a developing country, and I thought Canada is a developed country and people always had access to the basic amenities like heat, water, but it was surprising for me to know that they don't. And that really affected me. I wanted to know more, and I always wanted to do something, but I guess I waited for the right opportunity. I waited too long, but this May I finally started something on my own. I was very scared. I'm still scared about it, but still I'm really proud. Currently, I am building a platform for students for providing pro bono consulting services. We are working with other non-profit organizations and smaller startups who has a social cause which align with our principles. If they're working towards sustainability or if they're working towards any social impactful projects, then we are willing to provide us our service. As an engineer or as a human, we could always earn money at any point in life, but I think right now I can offer my time and my services to the community. And right now, at this point during the pandemic and the COVID-19, and the communities need that. The COVID has affected a lot of communities. They have funding cuts, and they want to build the more resilient business models because their only goal is to help people. And if they're not given the right resources, they might not be able to. And that is why I want to be involved with them, and I want to help them as much as I can.
I think you attract engineers into this sense of purpose by helping them understand all the ways engineers contribute, right? And that comes back to that idea of we're so humble and we don't talk about what we do. But if we did, people would understand how much impact we can have, and we could attract people into the industry pretty easily if they really understood how much good we do every day. What I love about that responsibility is the impact it has on people, and people I know and people that I care about. So I always say one of my favorite projects is my son is going to a high school that I worked on. So it's like deeply personal that every day he goes to that school where I did some of the work on it. And just the impact that the things we do can have on everybody's lives, on their day-to-day, and helping people grow and helping people learn and be safe and healthy and all those things. It's really beyond the math and all the technical portions of engineering. There's humanity, and it is really about people and serving society and serving people.
I believe that engineers are the only profession where they don't want to put people in misery. Like they don't, for example, healthcare and profession of law, they all need a problem to sustain, and I think engineers always work for solutions. They don't, even there's no problem, they do work towards a better solution all the time.
My brother always says work sucks, that's why they pay you. And I don't mean that work sucks every day, but sometimes, like, some days are hard at work, and that's okay. It's all right to have hard days, and it's all right to not like your job sometimes, but having lots of days where you love it and lots of days where you come home and you're just like, wow, I made a difference today. That's what drives you. That's what makes life fun. That's what makes engineering fun. That's what makes any career fun. My personal perspective is if you're in it just for the money, you're in the wrong career. You spend too much time at work, spend too many hours away from your friends and your family and doing the things you really like doing. And if you don't enjoy it, where are you? Why are you doing it? So to me, fulfillment's huge. It took me a while to get there. I think it takes everyone a while to get there, to really understand that it's okay to take a job that you love. And it's okay to turn down a job that you don't love. And the possibilities that you have, if you do accept something that fulfills you, the possibilities out there to build communities and build better worlds are huge and endless. And why would you waste your time with something else?
The biggest lesson was for me, when I started off, I thought creation of things was the end goal for engineers. What I've learned, particularly over the last 20 years or so, has been that the building of a community that can change the world is far more important than that new widget. Engineering is a state of mind, it's not a degree. So those people who are innate engineers, and they don't all have engineering degrees, what's unique about them is they're almost compelled to make change, to fiddle with things to make them better. And that could be a camera, that could be your car, so it could be material things, or it could be, how do I help my community league run better? Well, fear is the problem, and it's innate. We're comfortable with the situation that we're in. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in it. And change, we always worry about the downside, and there is a risk. But if you don't take that risk, then again, you'll be 60 years old and you'll look back and think, if only I had. And I can't think of a worse situation than regret.
So when I'm at the end of my career, I hope that I've been able to impact others. And I hope that the people I've impacted are then able to impact others. And one of the most, it was a very difficult time, but it was also amazing to see the influence that a single individual can have. When I think about Dr. Margaret Ann Armour, she was the founder of Wisest, and she passed away recently. And at her life celebration, just seeing the impact that she's had on community was amazing. And everyone that she mentored has gone on to mentor so many other people. And that kind of influence and impact, it can be achieved, and it can make a difference in society and the world.
I hope when I retire, people say that I helped them, that I took care of them when I could, help them grow, help them be successful. To me, that's fundamental. That's number one. The rest of the stuff, the math, the buildings is actually secondary to helping people succeed. That's what I'm about. It's what I want people to remember me for. So I hope they look back and say, Cam made a difference in my life.